Welcome back to Personality Podcast, where trending topics meet lighthearted banter. I'm your host, Madia Sharice.
And I'm your host, Bianca Black. And y'all already know,
your favorite auntie's about to stir the pot. Today we have a special guest in the studio, talented film writer and director, founder and creator of Woke God Apparel, where he combines creativity with a message of empowerment. Beyond his professional accomplishments, he is a devoted son, a loyal friend, and a supportive brother, embodying all the qualities of a strong Black male influence in men's lives. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you and introduce to others my friend, Mr. Woke God himself, Mr. Stephen Carter. Go ahead and say hello to our nieces and nephews.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hello, Mr. Carter. Can I call you that?
Yes, you can.
Or Woke God?
Yes,
What you
can.
prefer?
Whatever you want, whatever you feeling.
Okay.
I'm in your world.
Okay, I like that. So, how did you evolve into the Woke God today?
Ooh, y'all want the short version or the long version?
Whatever version you give us.
This Woke God creation came from just, all my trials and tribulations. One of the biggest things, we just gonna go straight into this shit. Let's go.
Oh, let's get it.
So I had a lawsuit, a discrimination lawsuit, at a railroad. I actually had two of them. At a railroad and a trucking company. And this was one of the biggest things that embodied all of this was I was sitting in a room with all these black men, right? And I said, we should do a civil suit. And it's like 30 to 40 black men, 4 of them were pastors. And I was trying to tell them, I said, man, we do a civil suit, we come together, it's more. You know what I'm saying? By myself, I'm going to do this with or without y'all, but it's better if we have strength in numbers. So I looked in that room, every one of these brothers was on a frequency of fear. Older than me and younger than me. And then 4 of them was pastors, so it took me a while to start talking about this story because I didn't like talking about it. But now, after years of just kind of getting through it, so one of the pastors, he was at the time, he's like in his late 50s. He said, young brother, your problem is you got too much anger and too much ego. And he said, you need to put things in God's hands. And I said, Pastor, I'm going to tell you something, man. When I think of God's hands, I think of these 2 motherfuckers right here. So what are you talking about? And then this is the kicker. When he said this to me, I almost lost it. Because with black men, you got anger and you got hurt. What he said hurt me. He said, I'm going to tell you something. These white people, they ain't going to never let you win. And I said, man, who the fuck you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? So this dude almost jumped over a table and tried to get at me.
That's the pastor.
Yeah, the pastor.
Wow.
But this is the problem with our people. You won't do that against the oppressor.
Nope.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You ready to fight me over telling you the truth, but you comfortable living a motherfucking slave. Man, I'd die 1,000 deaths before I even think that fucking thought. Are you serious?
Yeah.
But this happened with me twice. So the message for me was, hey man, they ain't ready yet. This is just for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that really bothered me because I'm looking in this room, 30 to 40 black men from 60 to 25, all on this frequency of fear. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All these men stuck on the frequency of fear, and they looking at me like I'm crazy. So, won the lawsuit easy as hell. Won the first one, won the second one. But the problem was, and it's not, I don't have nothing against my people. It just hurt me because you a pastor, and you sit in this church every Sunday on a frequency of fear, and you wonder why ain't nothing changing in your life. And then you see a black man really walking in the war, and you don't want to jump in it.
Yeah.
You preaching all the words, all the scriptures and all that. And I'm not knocking it. This is not a knock on church people. I love all the Most High's creations. Yeah. But my problem is I was born in the war. I'm from the hood. I'm from nothing. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody, but you got the people that know the Bible all day. I'm not one of those people. And I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying that that's a good or bad thing, but I know the war.
Yeah.
And I'll die before I sit up there even think that thought.
Right.
Of, hey, this white person ain't gonna let you win.
Yeah.
And not all the white people was racist. It wasn't all of them, But it's the simple fact that we have this scared mentality, and that's what's wrong with a lot of our men. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're and we put on this front, this facade. Yeah. I see it in the churches and I see it in the streets. Niggas trying to act like they got a lot of money. Once you get rid of, one thing that helped me get to this is finding out who I wanted to be and who I am. And that's an endless journey. You know what I'm saying? But you got to face it and you got to fall in love with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? What you getting with me is me. This whole woke guy brand, oh my God, do you know how many people it pissed off?
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's not a statement to be egotistical. It's a statement to bring us all together because every walk of life has helped me get to this point. Black, white, Middle Eastern. I'll be lying if I said that. Didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's what a lot of it's about. And it's not, I'm not trying to like tear down church people because I'm not trying to judge. It's just, we got to tell the truth. That's what we're doing. We got to tell the truth.
Absolutely.
One of my partners, he's a pastor. So he said, hey man, I like this woke guy thing you doing, but I don't think I can get behind it. I said, all right, I don't give a fuck. But, you know, but he tells me, he's like, you know, I just don't want you to go to hell, Steve. I said,
that's that frequency of fear.
I said, I got you. Okay, I understand that. I said, so you ain't scared of hell? No, I'm scared of hell. You know, chapter so-and-so says this and this and this. And I said, okay, if you ain't scared of hell, then why you got a baby on the way with a chick in your congregation?
Oh, my God.
You see what I'm saying? And it's not to knock him, not to judge him. I love that brother to death. You know what he did? He hung that fucking phone up on me so quick.
Yeah, I bet he did.
You see what I'm saying?
He don't want to face that.
It's because people pick and choose what they want to be fearful of.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And it's crazy because that frequency of fear, oh my God. And to piggyback off what you said, other races don't have that frequency of fear. It's just us. It's just us.
And it's very sad. I don't,
Yeah.
because we will tear each other down all day. Black men, black women, we do this all day, and we have to let all of that shit go and find out who we are, just individually and together. You know what I'm saying? Because the frequency of the world right now is fear of the government, relationship problems, and money problems.
Yeah.
So if you want to change from that, you got to step away from all that shit.
Baby.
You know what I'm saying? I don't wake up worrying about Trump or none of that shit. Because to be honest, a lot of our people have been broke since Clinton was in office.
Yeah.
So at some point, a lot of this shit is your decision making. You know what I'm saying? I had to step away from a lot of my partners because all they doing is clubbing, making babies.
Yeah.
So at some point for men and women, we have to step away from the patterns that's getting us nowhere.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, you know.
That's good.
Well, to just jump right on in there, me and my best, we were talking about men.
Right.
We always talking about men.
Here we go. Here we go.
You know, we deal with a little bit of everybody in the salon.
Right.
And we hear a little bit of everybody's point of views, and a little bit of everybody's watching our podcast, whether they want to admit it or not.
Oh, we watching.
We know y'all watching.
And a lot of the men is watching because guess what? We look like this, right? Then we get the men that come to me mostly, and they like, you know, they want to be on the podcast, but they go about it the wrong way. So we put them on there. They just not present. So we better talk about them right now, right? So a lot of these men are sassy as they come, and they don't believe they're sassy. You know, we've talked about the sassy this apocalypse, right? They don't really believe they're sassy.
Okay, well, what's sassy? I'm a black man. What's sassy to you?
So the sassy men are the men that like to argue with women just to get a rise out of them.
That's true.
You see what I mean? It's like they present masculine until they are able to have an opportunity to get in there and try to humble us. And it's like, why do we need to be humbled? Because we're working women, because we don't need them for anything, because we don't have to rely on them for anything. You know, and so they want to fight with us, they want to humble us, and they want to prove to us that they're masculine. And it's like, we want you to be masculine.
Yeah.
So why are you trying to prove to us that you're masculine? If you're masculine, you don't have to prove it.
Yeah, that's true.
So what does it mean to you in today's society to be a masculine man?
To align with your purpose. And that's not something that comes overnight. You have to, it's an everyday thing. But you got to figure out who and what you want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like me. One thing that got me on my purpose was trying to really I had to unlearn what this matrix taught us. You know what I'm saying? You have to unlearn all the bullshit, like, and you got to be truthful with yourself. Like, a lot of my family, they're really religious, and I love them, but they've been on the same frequency of fear their whole life, so I said, I can't live like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody was telling me, man, you need to be married. Okay, motherfucker, you going through your 8th divorce now. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to judge, but it's just like, society gives you this template.
Yes.
Work, marriage, do this. You got to get rid of that and figure out what you want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, with men and women, if we could connect with who we truly are, then a lot of this stuff we wouldn't be going back and forth on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because what it is it's just a bunch of misguided energy, and once we figure out what that is, then we could come together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the men are debating because they hurt and bothered about something. The women are doing the same thing. So what we need to do is have conversations like this where everybody's understood, but you have to understand yourself.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Like, what got me to this point, and I'm still learning. I fasted from sex for like a year and a half. Okay. And people said, man, you tripping. Nah, because sex ain't my God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in control of my temple.
Yes.
I was 250 pounds like 2 years ago. I started doing 5 miles every morning.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Fasting, but you got to do it because you on a higher frequency. You're trying to get somewhere else. Most people, they stuck.
Yes.
They don't want to step away from the crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't want to step away. They asking the Most High, the universe, whatever you believe in, they're asking it for something greater, but you're not willing to give up to be greater.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? How does that work? You want to lose weight, but you want to stay at Wendy's every fucking day. It just makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
You got to want to put in the work. And so me, I seen everything that I didn't want to be in a lot of people around me and family members, so I just don't follow what they doing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You know, when I got into real estate, everybody around me, man, the market bad. How the fuck do you know the market is bad? You never even owned a house.
Right.
We automatically go to a place of fear.
Fear.
Mm-hmm.
Automatically.
Yeah.
I had to tell my mother this a couple of days ago. She was looking at the news. She was like, Trump's fucking the world up. I said, Trump ain't doing shit.
Right.
She was like, these tariffs. I said, Mom, what is a tariff? Watch this. I don't know. What? What? You see, we're so calculated to fear, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So once you let all of that shit go, you have a clean canvas to create. But most of us, when we get on that canvas, we get scared.
Yeah.
And we want to go back to what we normally do. You see what I'm saying? Me, I love the unknown. I love the fear. Because I come from nothing. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at a black man who done been homeless. Me and my mother slept in cars. My stepfather stabbed me. I tried to kill him twice. You know what I'm saying? But these are things that you go through and you got to overcome it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The things that made me start looking for more was looking at my situation. It was terrible. I said, man, you know what? If my life is this bad, before I check out of here, I got to create some good. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so low to the point to where I'm like, man, this is so bad. I know there's got to be another side to this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? But when I look back at all of that, and this just comes with growth spiritually, mentally, you know what I'm saying? I look back at all my hardships and I'm like, damn, if I didn't survive or go through all that, I wouldn't be right here.
Absolutely.
So when I talk to the Creator, when I talk to the Most High, the universe, I'm grateful for every high and low that I went through because it got me here. So with people, especially men, we have to want to face our fears. Because men have this exterior of having to be big and tough. The thing that makes me balance is I can admit when I'm not balanced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to face it and own it, but that's very hard.
And it takes a level of awareness.
Yes, it does. And I think with black men and black women, we have so much anger. And we just want to love more, but we wake up and we're so connected to toxicity.
Oh, baby.
We love it. We love toxicity. We love the fight. We love the drama. We love this. And I don't love none of that because I grew up in it. You know what I'm saying? My household was very bad. You know, I don't need no violin music, but it just was fucked up. But I survived it. So I like peace. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not afraid to create my peace by getting away from people. So,
That's good.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
That's real good. So did you have any positive male influence in your life?
I did. I had a couple.
You had a couple.
They weren't the best. You know, there's a lot of dope dealers, but they taught me strength. You know what I'm saying? They say, man, don't ever be taken advantage of by nobody and protect what's yours. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say they were the best, but they taught me what I needed to know. Because I come from a single parent household. So, and with that being said, my mother just told me something like a couple months ago. She said, me and your father would have still been together. I was just a little jealous and, you know, had some insecurities. And I said, wow.
Wow.
Took her 40 years to tell me that, which I'm blessed about it. I'm not, it just helped me heal, though, because it's like, you know, she would tell me things. And I'm not knocking my mother. This is not an attack on black women, but we just have to want to face shit. And sometimes it takes a day, 2 years, months, or whatever. You just got to want to face it. You know what I'm saying? But that's this journey of life sometimes stuff is not going to come when we want it to come. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be open to receiving it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
So I hear you mention your mom, and you did say, because that was going to be one of my questions, were you raised in a single parent home?
Yeah.
And so you said that you were. When it comes to raising a man to be a boy to be a man as a single woman, how did you go back and heal your inner child?
Prayer, therapy.
That's good.
That's real good. A lot of people.
It's all types of therapy.
Yeah.
Spiritual therapy, regular therapy. And, you know, you have to, it goes back to what I said about unlearning all the bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, in our neighborhood, you get therapy, you soft.
Oh, yeah.
You weak. And see, I'm not afraid to go against the grain because I'm seeing where people doing it the normal way, it's not working for them. You know what I'm saying? And you know, in the black community, you just got to pray about it. Nah, pray about it. There's so much more to it. You know what I'm saying?
Faith without works is dead.
Exactly.
You know?
And then sometimes pray about it turns in, it's just like a universal Band-Aid for nigga, I don't know, it just sounds good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, if you don't know where that's going, you got to really, you know, when I talk to the Most High, it's like, hey, man, I'm talking to him straight up. You know, I'm not being fake. I got to be real. You know what I'm saying? With everything that I'm going through, I got to, you know, let's figure this out. Show me how to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think we look at religion as like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. We praying like, oh, I want $1 million. Did it happen yet? No, you got to really put in the work.
Yeah,
and when you really got intentions on changing, sometimes your whole world will crumble. Yeah. Everything will crumble for you to get to where you're supposed to be, but you got to be able to see it. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really like hard times. I was raised in hard times. So it's like, a lot of shit that I had to overcome as a kid, man, I had to battle depression at the age of 13 and 14 because I'm watching my mama get beat up by a crackhead.
Wow.
And she keep going back to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So as I grow up as a man, it's like, yo, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
I don't want relationship problems like that. And then it's like the same problems I was seeing in adults in my family as a kid, they still going on now.
Right.
Relationship problems, money problems.
Yep.
So when you're seeing what you don't want to be, you just have to walk away from that and create the opposite.
And break that cycle.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's good. So do you have any like specific skills or values that you think you learned from your mom?
Yes.
Okay.
My mama was a gangster.
Okay. Come on now.
She was like Pac. She took nothing.
Okay.
So she did with no sassy man.
Oh, hell no.
He said she didn't take no shit.
No, she
I heard
didn't
that.
take no shit.
So it's safe to say that you would prefer a strong woman?
Yeah, I think everybody's strong. You know what I'm saying? We just got to know how to move it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, when men talk about, oh, I want a masculine woman, everybody has masculine and feminine. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has it. And we have to understand how to keep it balanced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, black men, or, you know, they'll teach you, man, you can't do this around a woman. You can't be open. You can't be vocal. Well, then what are we in a relationship for?
Yeah.
If I got a woman, I got to be able to talk to her. We got to be able to communicate on the mind, body, and spirit level. But most relationships is just physical. We're just hooking up, smashing, making kids.
Yeah.
So we got to get away from that because men, we making crazy decisions, and so are the women. So we got to really understand what kind of frequency we on. Because I know if back in the day when I'm on a shitty frequency, if I'm on a dating site, this ain't about no relationship. It's about hooking up.
Yeah.
Let's just be real though.
Yeah.
Because if you on that vibration, that's what you're going to attract.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's good.
Yep. Be transparent.
That's good.
So, what challenges do you think women face as single mothers raising boys to be men without fathers around?
Whew.
That's a loaded question.
You know, y'all are the rock. So y'all dealing with trying to raise boys and then being by yourself. So that does hurt. You know what I'm saying? Being a man, I've seen that. So it's like you're trying to figure it out and be two people. And, that's a lot. And you said the biggest challenge y'all face?
Yeah, what are some of the challenges, even with your mom, that you've seen her face trying to raise a boy? Did you have siblings?
Yeah, my sister, but she moved out early.
So what challenges do you think that she had having to be both mother and father?
Trying to balance home, figuring out who she is, and then wanting to be loved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My mom, she just ultimately just wanted to be loved.
And did you see her have to act as your protector too?
Yeah.
And that could be a challenge too.
Well, okay, this is kind of deep, but I'll give it to y'all. You know, when my stepfather came around, I think I was 11. Me and that dude hated each other, but he was a crackhead.
Yeah.
So me and my mother's relationship got really bad. Like me and my mother fell out for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Because she kept going back to him. Like, they doing drugs, me and him fighting, he stabbed me, I shooted him, and it's like, I'm going crazy as a kid. Mm-hmm. I'm losing my mind. I'm not okay. I'm in a bad place. You know what I'm saying? So when kids, especially black men, when they lose their mama, this is all I know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the streets, I hate everything.
Yeah.
That's why we so numb. You know what I mean? So having to deal with that was hard, because in my brain I had to make peace with, man, this dude probably gonna kill my mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, and being a kid, having to deal with that, that's a hard thing to do. I literally had to just make peace with the fact that I may get a crazy call one day.
Yeah.
Because she kept, and as a child, I didn't understand this. Like, man, y'all keep fighting, he keep beating you up, and you keep taking this man back. But psychologically, that did something to me, because it's like, I don't want that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
I don't ever want that.
Process as an adult, as a kid, and how do you process?
Because those are some big emotions.
Yeah.
To have to deal with.
These grown men that can't even process.
Yeah.
They women making more money than them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at 11, being able to process, man, this dude might kill my mom. Like, I can imagine what that did to you and the amount of work that you had to do to reverse that mental, that psychological, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the beauty of it, me and my mama, we are amazing now. And if I could go back and change anything, I wouldn't, because that was the Most High's plan. He said, man, I'm going to make you strong by taking you through all of this.
Yeah.
But you don't see it at the time.
That's good.
I was so broken, like, man, like, I don't understand this. As a kid, I didn't understand. It's like, y'all fighting, doing drugs, and then y'all come back together, and then there's no love for me, so I had to go figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But that's what made me who I am.
Yeah.
So,
It seemed like you had a level of emotional intelligence at a young age.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Because I didn't.
That's crazy.
You know what happened? Like, my grandmother, she told me, she said, you wise beyond your years.
Mm-hmm. Grandma.
And
grandma's been
had a praying grandma, huh?
When I was in church, when I was a kid, I didn't understand. Like, I'm a real empathic person, and I didn't like being around all that fear and all that sadness. But I know in the church, like, it's a lot of hurt black people.
Yeah.
So I'm a kid, and I'm seeing all these black people in there. Like, what y'all so sad and hurt for? But I get it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But my grandmother, she was like my mom's mom. She was like super religious. Mm-hmm. And one day I asked her I think I was like 7th or 8th grade, before I went to school, I said, you got a picture of white Jesus on the refrigerator here, but you always tell me don't trust white people. So
accountable at a young age.
Exactly.
Grandma, I need to know. Like, so, what's that about?
I'm sitting, I always hear my family complain about white people. I'm like, man, what's
the math ain't mathing.
Yeah. So before I went to school, I seen her looking. I could see her reflection. She was like, "Shit." I said, "So," this is what she told me. She said, "He cool. Just don't trust the rest of them crackers."
Nah, he cool.
He cool.
Trust him.
Don't trust the rest of them crackers. Going to school. So I go to school at like 7 or 8 years old. But this is how the universe works. If you go to my website, it's a picture of me as a kid, and it's a little white kid on it. That's my brother.
Okay. So
I met him that day I went to school.
Okay.
So we sitting there, Indian style on the ground. Teacher's like, all right, y'all can't, I'm going to assign y'all seats. So I'm in my head. He stands next to me. I'm in my head like, what you want, whitey? You know what I'm saying? Because she done gave me this little racism. And he looking around like, man, he said, I don't know if I could sit here. And I'm thinking in my head, it's probably because I'm black. But look at how the universe works. The dude sat down. And he looked at me. We looking around because we both nervous. He said, hey, man, you want to be friends? I said, yeah. And 40-some years later until he died, that was my brother.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
I remember that.
But you see how the Most High work?
Oh,
my grandmother, she going off what she know. I'm not knocking her. You know what I'm saying? Because they come from all that different times. So, but it's just crazy how she told me all that shit. Don't trust these white people. But this cracker cool. What? So that's another thing in my brain, man. This is about everybody. I can't be racist. I can't hold on to hate. It's too much because I've held on to it at such a young age. It's time to let that shit go. You know what I mean?
I say this all the time. All black people ain't good and all white people ain't bad. It's about the energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would agree.
Yep.
My daddy used to be like, I can't stand no white people. My daddy used to always say, I can't stand nickels. But my daddy blacking his table. And when I was young, I'd be like, but now I get it. He's talking about the mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, because sometimes I call white people niggas. Nigga.
Acting like a nigga. Look at them thugs over there.
Then when we was young, they said the nigga was a hair on the elephant's ass.
I didn't know that. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's spicy.
I do not want to be a hair on an elephant's ass.
Me neither.
No, that don't sound too fun.
Okay, so how can society better support single moms raising boys?
Understanding y'all. Listening. You know what I'm saying? We have to listen. Like sometimes we so quick to judge.
Yeah.
I've been victim of that too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just because my past being pissed at a lot of people or whatever. But we just got to listen. Like if there's something going on, you a single mom, I have to listen to you.
Right.
Even if I don't agree with it, let me just listen to see where this is coming from.
Yeah.
Let's try to figure this out together. You know what I'm saying? It may not be easy, but it's going to start with conversation and understanding. You know what I'm saying?
That's where that village comes in. It really takes a village to raise a child. You know what I mean? Because, you know, losing my kid's dad last year, even though all of my children are above 18, I still need help with them. You know what I mean? My oldest will be 28 this year. I still need male influence with him. My daughters are 20. I still need male influence for her so she don't run into the hands of a dude, you know, that ain't good for her. So I still need that strong black male influence to help support and listen. Like you said, where there's a need, where you hear there's a need, it don't hurt to step in. You know what I mean? Even if it's a good advice, even if it's a listening ear shoulder, it don't help to step in, you know?
I agree. So let me ask you something. I don't want to get off the topic, but what is your idea of nice guys finish last?
What's our idea?
Well, my brother, he pounds that slogan into the ground. So I've heard that since I was a kid. And it's a mindset. If you think you finishing last, you're going to finish the last. It's the same as seeing the glass half empty versus seeing it half full. You know what I mean? Every loss is not a win to, I mean, every loss is not a loss to me. Right. So, I agree in some aspect, but in the next aspect, no, because even though I lost, I still won. I'm a winner, period, baby. You know? Right. So that loss was not a loss to me. It was a gain in some areas. So that's my take on it.
With me, what was that question again? Rephrase that.
What is your idea of the nice guy finishing last?
My idea of the nice guy finishing last.
And what is your idea of a nice guy?
Okay, I can answer that one. I can answer that one. A nice guy is a man who is understanding, gentle, patient. He will worship the ground that you walk on. He's very, very sensitive with, just with your emotions, with your feelings. He will cater to your every need. Sometimes a nice guy might not have a backbone, which is why I feel like women will eventually walk over that man and he will feel like he's finishing last, as opposed to the bad guy that they say women like to go for. I don't think I do. But they say women like the bad guy, the bad boy. He's a little more, I wouldn't say masculine, but like he's a little more like rah-rah, like I'm not taking no shit. He presents well. And that's the thing, like a nice guy, he could be nice, but he might not present in a really, really, masculine way. So I can see why they would think the nice guy would finish last.
Because they say, well, nice guys might not have the boundaries they need to protect themselves.
Because they're too nice. Yeah. That's like a woman that's too nice. Yeah. Like, because people will just walk over you. That's feel like period.
That's why I said that's why I put me in it, because when I say nice guys, that's a nice person, period. Because sometimes us as women, we're too forthcoming in the beginning. And we've always finished last because people, when they don't see or think that you have enough boundaries, they're going to bulldoze. Yeah. So, with the nice guys finishing last, it's perceptional. Get some boundaries as well. It's okay for a man to have boundaries. We love men to have boundaries.
We love that.
we love. example, story time. Someone, I was at his place. Somebody saw me. He tried to holler at me before, but he has a wife, right? So he saw me again in another setting, and he in front of his boys. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I said, "Don't you got a wife?" Yeah, but I want to be loved too. I want to be appreciated too. All this downplaying his situation, saying I need this and I need that. I said, well, you're not my type. I said, I love a man that got boundaries. Why are you somewhere that you don't want to be?
A man that stand on something.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Why are you somewhere you don't want to be? I said, you're not my type. Oh, he was so like, his boys was like, I'm like, yeah, move around. Because I'm not nobody's sloppy seconds.
That's true.
I'm not a side piece.
That's true.
And that's good. That's
so
good.
We like boundaries around here because we have them.
Yeah, we do. So I can tell you my story. I had a story about this guy I dated back in the day. He was so sweet, but he was too nice. And I'm a nice person. I can't be with another person that's too nice because we just too nice. Somebody got to have boundaries here. Like, we both can't lack boundaries.
Give me an example of his too niceness.
Just too nice. Okay, an example. I would be at work and he'll be like, are you hungry? I'm like, yeah, I'm hungry. And I will tell him to go to the most craziest, outrageous. I can say, go give me some Eddie V's and order me the lobster off the menu, and he will do that. Like, he literally he never told me no. And sometimes,
what's wrong with that?
No,
see, we're cooking now. I need to know all this.
But the thing is, have some boundaries. Sometimes give me a little pushback.
What are you gonna say? No, baby, this is lunch. Wait till dinner.
Sometimes I'm okay with a little pushback, but have a backbone. But I'm just saying that, he never told me no about anything. Sometimes, if I want you to be the man and lead me, sometimes you gotta say, hey, look, babe, that's not a good decision.
But what if he wanted to give you the world?
I know, but he was
wasn't
nice.
No problem.
And I didn't really like him like that. His butt was too big. It was a lot. It was too much. Oh, baby. He was built like his mama. Oh, girl.
What?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. Watching, I bet. Bounce that ass. That's what we call him.
He probably did. I hope he ain't watching.
Oh, baby, pop that. You know.
But no, he was too nice.
He not be built like your mama.
He was built like that mama, for sure. His ass was fatter than mine. It was crazy.
Oh,
it was crazy. So I couldn't deal with that. And you too nice. He had hip dips and everything.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We don't like that.
He did. He had everything.
That's good to know.
We don't like that.
We know.
He
be the first one. Where them fans at?
Now, see, in men's defense, sometimes we might be like, well, I thought that's what you wanted. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know. When you told me the nigga ass was too big, so that just
canceled everything.
That just canceled everything.
That canceled everything
so what about, because like I said, I was like, what's wrong with that? And she said, have some type of boundary. So, and I said, well, what about if he wanted to do those things? I can see if he didn't want to do it, but he did it just because you wanted it. Mm-hmm. So the boundary will come in where I don't really feel like doing that right now. We can wait till another day, or we can wait till dinner. You know what I mean? So that would be where the boundary come in. But if a man if he asks, some men like to give their women what they want.
But the thing, I wasn't that woman.
Oh, yeah.
And then I really didn't like him that way. Yeah. Honestly, it was more so me talking to him to pass time. I was bored. Again, this was 10, 12 plus years ago.
You was making him entertain you.
Basically, but he knew I didn't like him like that, right?
Yeah, so
I knew that I could, no matter what, if I needed anything. Yeah, and I'm just like, don't let me treat you like that. Yeah, so I was trying to teach him one lesson. Yeah, so.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's good, though. At least you honest about it.
Yeah. Now, that ain't who I am now. That was years ago.
So have you been told that nice guys, is that something that you deal with? Nice guys finishing like?
Me?
He said not me.
Not me. He was like,
can't relate.
I'm not trying to be egotistical. No, not at all. It's just
that face was priceless. I hope you catch that face.
That.
That is like,
who you talking to?
Clutches your chain.
No, it's just
clutches your chain. By the way, that chain is very nice.
It is.
Well, thank you. It's called the Steezus piece.
The what?
The Steezus?
Write that down, because I like that right there.
Nah, I got this made because I used to rock Jesus pieces, but I wasn't into that. When I started coming into my own, it's like, I'm going to get my face on the chain. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I got so much backlash over this. People was like, man, you so egotistical, this and this. I said, but if I put the little pointy nose Italian dude on there, you cool with it. Mm-hmm. And all these people, all these people was telling me, man, our people are black, and I don't get into the religious thing about who God is. That's just not my fight. But all the people that was telling me this was the people saying Jesus is black and you this and this and this. I said, all right, well, here you go right here.
Yeah.
And they got mad as a mud. But when they heard it and seen my story behind it, they was like, okay, now I understand. You know what I'm saying? So it's not to be egotistical. It's just like, you got to believe in you. You know what I'm saying? So
that's good.
Why do you think people get so bothered in their panties in a bunch when you are awoke, aware in the God that you are? Why do you think that people get so bothered? Because me, it's like, okay, I'm minding my own business, and I'll never let anything like that get me all reared up and stuff. Like, what?
It's that strength. It's when you really start walking in that undeniable faith and strength and believe in yourself. That's when that's when your walk. That's when the war really starts. You know what I'm saying?
That's when your friends decrease.
Oh my God.
That's when your family don't fool with you no more.
Oh my goodness. And, I'm not even mad at because I don't even get mad at it because it just brings my peace. Mm-hmm. I understand the moves. You know what I'm saying? And when people see you really walking in strength that they don't have, it threatens them sometimes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I've been like that when I was younger. Like, man, this motherfucker don't read this and this. Until I learn from this person. Let go of that insecurity. I've been insecure before. I've been scared before.
Yeah. Insecure?
Yeah. When I was younger, just over things that I didn't know. Like some of my cousins who was more popular than me. And it didn't last long. You know what I'm saying? It lasted about a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, man, snap out of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you snap out of it and figure it out, like, you got to learn from people. But we have so much pride issues.
Yeah.
It's just so much, like, when you are around so much toxicity and low vibrational energy, it'll rub off on you.
That's true.
If you don't want to see people win, that used to be my frequency when I was younger, but I was around so much of my family, the church people. Look at her. Look at this person.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to brag on the church. It's just the energy. Like, we will say so much high stuff, but we don't really mean it. And that's when if that's your real frequency, then you're going to project all of that. Yeah. Me, I'm moving a frequency of love. You know what I mean? I love everybody. I love everything. You bring the villain out of me, you got to deal with it, but I'm not trying to be that person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, I think that just people got to find out who they are and just really rock on a genuine frequency of wanting to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And grow together. You know what I'm saying?
Good. So that's good. So you spoke on the word villain. Do you feel like you are in your villain era right now?
I'm in the villain era right now. Oh, yes.
Okay.
And you know what else? I love it.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
Come on now.
I tell Best I'm a menace.
I know
I am a menace.
I know I am. I want to be the villain in everybody's story. I am okay with that.
Especially when you walking in your truth. When you walk in your truth, that's when it's supposed to come. Because when you're trying to please everybody else, you're trying to please everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you walking in who you are and you can own it, man, that's the best life to live.
Man, that's so
But
good.
some people are scared of that. This conversation is scary for some people.
Yeah.
To talk about their hurts, their pains, because I done been through a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah.
To get me on this journey. You know what I'm saying? So, and I made a lot of mistakes. Mm-hmm. Messing with the wrong women. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, it's very scary.
Okay.
That fear frequency.
Yeah.
It's that fear frequency. Y'all better get off that frequency.
Yep.
We're so stuck on it. It's bad.
Yeah.
And I love people, but when I see that frequency, I gotta stay away from it.
Yeah.
I have to tell my mama about that a lot of times. Like, I go over to her place, Mama, you praying all the time, but your world stays full of toxicity. Trump doing this, none of that's affecting you.
Yeah.
So why you focused on it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Don't focus on none of this shit, even through social media, just fights and drama, man against woman. Yeah. We stay around chaos all day instead of figuring out how to heal from it and figuring out how to learn from it, or it's just a lot of chaos that we love being around, and I'm just not on that frequency no more. Right. And it creeps in every now and then, but I can't stay there.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Well, what advice would you give a single mom raising a boy to be a man and a leader in today's society?
First and foremost, prayer, therapy, and figuring out the problems. Like, whatever, okay, since you a single mom, what is something that you struggle with?
Right.
What is something I'm asking, what is something that you struggle with?
Being a single mom, something that I struggle with is worrying about my boys and my worrying about my grown children, and worrying about them being alone in this world, figuring it out. That worry when they're not around me. That's the one thing that I struggle with, because I have to give them, I got to turn them over to life. And that's hard because I want to protect them. Yeah. So that's my biggest struggle.
Okay, well, with that being said, if that's one of your biggest struggles, then y'all need to sit down and talk about everything. You know what I'm saying? And let's just say they don't want to, not to say they don't listen to you, but let's just say they don't want to understand certain things from you. Then do therapy. You know what I'm saying? Let's do things together so we can get out whatever we're missing. Because a lot of families won't do that. Yeah. Because they don't like to face that old trauma or whatever's bothering them. Like, in our households, we just have to face these problems. Mm-hmm. And it's beyond, it starts with prayer. But you have to really, like, if there's an issue going on with your son, you got to talk to him about it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to give him a safe space to talk about it. Like, that's one thing about my mother. She gave me a safe space to talk about it.